Bombshell tonight in the Nolan Wells investigation. Tonight, the timeline seemingly blows up. This as Nolan's mother is investigated. Why? And tonight, possibly even more important, where is Nolan's phone? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. We want the truth about what happened to Nolan Wells.
A Bertram boat was seen leaving shortly afterward at a high rate of speed. Pretty certain Nolan Wells was part of a group that was, quote, almost fighting around 5 p.m.
I'm on the side of finding out why everybody got back to the mainland except Nolan Wells.
I don't think they've cooperated at all. They do not have Nolan's phone. They haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department has it. So how can you say that there's text missing or there's photographs missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone other than give it back to Christine and her friends later that night. So anything about missing text messages or Snapchats is completely false.
Big question. That is Tyler Cox representing the so-called friends of Nolan on Horn Island. And if he's claiming that no one see the phone, how does he know that something's not missing? So that's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Let's hear that one more time from our friend Dan Abrams.
I don't think they've cooperated at all. They do not have Nolan's phone. They haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department has it. So how can you say that there's text missing or there's photographs missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone other than give it back to Christine and her friends later that night. So anything about missing text messages or Snapchats is completely false.
That's a veteran trial lawyer. That is Tyler Cox. He's representing the young men that were on the boat that took Nolan to Horn Island and came back without Nolan, according to them. Joining me in all-star panel, I'm not saying Cox is right or wrong, but what I am saying out to Brandon Tatum. Tatum, former police officer, Tucson, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. He has interviewed Nolan's acquaintances that were on the boat that day. Officer Tatum, thank you for being with us. Let me talk about this one moment. We've got so much to get to. I'm going to try to be brief. Tyler Cox stating, I don't think they cooperated at all. I think he's talking about Nolan's family. They, I guess the sheriff's office, haven't had access to Nolan's phone. Well, can't they subpoena that? It's called a subpoena ducis tecum. You're familiar with those. You've testified in court. A subpoena ducis tecum is, we hear about subpoenas for testimony. I've been subpoenaed. Yes, go to court and tell the truth. A subpoena ducis tecum is for an item, an object, a document. The sheriff can give out a subpoena ducis tecum or get a warrant for an object. So, you don't have it? Fine, get it. Next. So how can you say I'm quoting, how can you say there's no text message or photo, as a text message or photos missing? Our boys had no reason to do
A grand jury has been convened. 40 days have passed since Nolan Wells' body was recovered from Horn Island. The cause of death remains officially undetermined. The phone, which could contain the digital blueprint of his final hours, has not been examined. Instead, the device has become a piece of evidence in a different kind of case. One being tried in the court of public opinion, where accusations fly and the truth gets lost in the noise. Imagine a gun in a murder investigation. You don't just look at it. You test it for prints, you check the firing pin, you trace the serial number. In the 21st century, a smartphone is a more powerful forensic tool than any weapon. It is a chronological diary, a map, and a witness all in one. And in the case of Nolan Wells, the most important piece of physical evidence has become a political football. Kicked back and forth while everyone argues about who is allowed to pick it up. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, Make sure you're subscribed to Project Cold Case, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. What we know is this: on July 4th, 18-year-old Nolan Wells traveled by boat to Horn Island.
Of the Triton, the Triton.
He's not
It's not
he's
his
not
boat.
ordering it. He's not ordering it. The cadaver dogs were made available if he wanted to. No, they made themselves, availed themselves to him and said, would you like us to search the boat for you?
You just said that about Nolan
information?
Wells' mom. Now you said, I almost hate to do this to you, almost. Tatum, you just said when Crump says we're available and ready, you meant, well, that's no, they haven't handed over the boat. But now you're saying the friends say our boat's available and ready, and I'm not going to tear you a new one because the law enforcement is the one that needs to go and search the boat.
Nancy,
it ain't rocket science.
The people who had
the
people who had
with a group of friends. He was reported missing that night. His body was found 2 days later. The friends returned to the mainland. They had Nolan's phone. They gave it to his mother, Christine Wonsley. This is the only fact that everyone seems to agree on. What happens next is where the narrative explodes. The family's lead attorney, Ben Crump, stated in July that an agreement was reached with the district attorney for a joint forensic inspection of the phone. They wanted a shared process, involving their own experts and potentially the FBI, to ensure transparency and chain of custody. We have been, and remain, ready and willing to cooperate, wrote attorney Ahmad Smith in a letter to the DA on August 11. They proposed conducting the examination at the Digital Forensics Lab at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. So, the family says they are ready to cooperate. But ready is not the same as handing it over. On the other side, you have the attorney for the friends, Tyler Cox. Appearing on Sirius M, he made a definitive statement, staking his reputation on it. He said, I have reason to believe, and I do believe, that Wells' family.
Hi guys, Nancy Grace here. Please join us on Crime Stories and stream it first on Fox 1. When breaking crime news develops, we investigate it and bring it to you. Bombshell updates, answers to unanswered questions from cases making the headlines and cases you may never have heard of until Crime Stories. We go inside investigations with exclusive interviews, crime victims, families seeking justice, investigators, experts, and sources from within the case itself. Stay on top of the nation's biggest trials with us, including gavel-to-gavel coverage with real-time analysis. Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. Stream it first on Fox 1. I hope to see you there, and thank you, friend.
Back to Officer Brandon Tatum. He's the star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. So, Officer Tatum, let me understand. I don't know, and I don't think you know, where Nolan Wells' phone is. The family may have it, or it may have been seized or handed over to law enforcement.
Have not cooperated with law enforcement. I do not think that they have turned in Nolan's phone, and I'm willing to bet my reputation on that. This is a direct accusation. It implies obstruction. It is also an opinion, not a fact. But in the echo chamber of national media, it becomes a headline. It becomes the story. So, we have a mother grieving her son. She says she wants to know the truth. She says she wants to analyze the phone. But according to the other side, she is holding back the very evidence that could provide the answers. Why? The family's legal team claims the DA's office set an unrealistic deadline to hand over the phone while the family was out of state. They say the logistics of a joint inspection haven't been finalized. The DA's office says they need the phone. The family's lawyers say they need an agreement on how the phone is analyzed. This is a dance of death, and the music is playing for a grand jury. The grand jury is now investigating. This is a critical shift. A grand jury has the power of subpoena. If a grand jury wants the phone, it can get the phone. It can compel testimony. It can force the issue. That the DA's decision to proceed by grand jury moves this from a media dispute into a legal proceeding. This is the ticking clock moment. This is where the story transforms from a news item into a thriller. The question is no longer if the phone will be examined, but what will be found when it is. A grand jury can issue a subpoena duces tecum, an order to produce physical evidence. In the words of a veteran trial lawyer, they will suffer the pains of contempt of a grand jury. The narrative has become binary cooperate or obstruct. But the reality is likely more complex. The family doesn't trust local law enforcement. They have cited Mississippi's history of racial injustice.
All of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer. And they cooperated with law enforcement. So from my understanding, everybody took a polygraph test.
Why do you say that's from
but
what
one.
you understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and passed?
Yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there. So that's why I'm saying from my understanding. They told me that all the boys except one, which is Warren, I believe, took a polygraph test. All of them did not have lawyers and did it and cooperated with police. Warren also cooperated with police. I just believe he didn't take a lie detector test, but Warren is the young man that I interviewed. So according to what they told me, they all took a lie detector test and passed. And it's an equivalent of a lie detector test. It's not a traditional lie detector test, but it's the same theology of trying to get to if a person is lying. I don't know the name of it. It's an equivalent of a lie detector test. It's a different methodology. I don't believe it was a polygraph test. I believe they took other stressors in order to analyze if the people were telling the truth or not. So then the answer to
did they take a polygraph would be no. Officer Tatum, number one, they did not take polys. Number two, Warren, as you refer to him, did not take the voice analysis. Why did he not take a voice analysis? Number one. And number two, since we spoke on this last, have they taken polys? And if not, why not?
Okay, let me just make sure clear, because I think the internet went in a frenzy about this. It's a computer voice stress analysis is what I was referring to. None of this is admissible in court, and I don't think it has the weight to concern anybody or whether or not anyone took it or not. I just thought it was important to show the cooperation that they had with the police. Even more cooperation, I believe, almost than the Nolan family. I mean, the boys have given their phones over to the FBI voluntarily, and we still haven't gotten Nolan's phone from the family to the police. So,
that's independent oversight. Ben Crump has a history of high-profile cases where he positions himself as a check on a system he believes is biased. From their perspective, handing the phone over without strict protocols risks losing control of the narrative. For the friend's attorney, it's an easy public relations win to accuse the family of non-cooperation, deflecting from the details of the timeline and the activities of the young men on the boat. This is the murky water of high-stakes legal strategy. The question of whether Nolan's phone is missing is itself murky. He left it on the boat. It was given to his mother. The debate is about what happened after it was given to her. Tyler Cox is a veteran trial lawyer. He knows the power of planting a seed of doubt. By saying, they have not cooperated, he frames the entire investigation around the family's supposed failures. They do not have Nolan's phone. They haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department hasn't, Cox stated, questioning the family's public claims about deleted texts and photos. But the law is not a courtroom reality show. The truth is rarely served by public relations campaigns. The family needs to understand that a grand jury is not going to wait forever. If they continue to delay, they risk a warrant being issued. This is a fact they must accept. If they want the truth, they must be willing to expose the phone to the harsh light of forensic science. Heather Barnhart, a digital forensics expert, explained on Crime Stories that while data can be pulled from the cloud, physical access to the phone is where the truth on deletion is found has citation reference. You need the device itself. You need to see the digital fingerprints. The phone is a crime scene. The digital footprint is what's at stake. The boat has been offered for search. The friends claim to have taken voice stress tests. But the phone is the key that unlocks the timeline. It can answer the question, what was Nolan doing in the hours before he died? The timer is running. The grand jury is the ultimate authority. The narrative is in the hands of the law. The friends say they passed polygraphs or at least voice analysis. Whether those tests are admissible is irrelevant. They are a tool of public opinion. But the digital extraction from a phone is a different matter. As Jordan, a tech expert, said, modern technology can prove whether you have deleted anything. Citation reference. There is a digital trail, a trail that leads to the truth. The fight over the phone is a distraction from the real tragedy. Nolan Wells is dead. His family is suffering. His friends are under suspicion, and everyone is picking sides. But the evidence is not partisan. The evidence is not emotional. The evidence exists in a digital realm that doesn't care about your politics or your feelings. By the time you watch this, the phone may have been handed over. The grand jury may have issued a subpoena. The DA may have backed down. But the question remains, what is on that phone? The family says they want to find out. The friends say they have nothing to hide. The authorities say they want the truth. A grand jury starts investigating and wants all of these materials, including access to the boat, access to the cell phone. It's going to happen. You have the power to keep this story alive. The complete timeline of the investigation is in the public record. We've linked the letter from the family's attorney, sent to the DA on August 11, in the description below. Read it. Look at the language of the legal teams. Then, ask yourself one question. Do you believe the family is stalling? Or are they right to demand oversight? Let us know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Project Cold Case. The truth doesn't disappear. It waits for someone to find it.
Very serious and critical question, and that is, there is a grand jury. Everything Tatum is saying and everything I'm saying, you know that phrase in the Bible, Tatum? We are now looking through a mirror darkly. We're looking through a very murky, grimy glass because we don't know. You are saying one thing. I'm questioning that because we don't know. And in the middle of it all, we have got a dead body of Nolan Wells. I don't want to get tangled up in arguments and vitriol that detracts from finding the truth. And I don't take anybody at face value. I don't suspect anybody, and I suspect everybody. I can't tell who's telling the truth. But we will, God help us, find out what happened to this young man. If you know, or you think you know anything, please dial 228-769-3063 tonight. We remember American hero Sergeant Kyle Robert McKee, U.S. Army, killed in the line of duty, leaving behind a beautiful wife-turned-widow, Lauren, and 3 children, Jackson, Canaan, and Ella. American hero, Sergeant Kyle Robert McKee. Thank you to our guests, but especially to you for being with us tonight in our search for the truth of what happened to Nolan Wells. Nancy Grace signing off for tonight, but I'll see you tomorrow night. And until then, good night, friends. Hi, guys. Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved homicides. And if you're on the go, please join us on your favorite podcast app where you can get all our content, where we, in our way, seek justice.